What up, and what up? Salute to my brothers.
Absolutely.
Gunner, what up?
Tag, what up?
My brother Tag.
What we doing,
Make
OG
sure you
Wisdom?
check out the OG Wisdom podcast. You know what I mean? We're in it live and raw from a Val Lagoon. Good show, my niggas. I love y'all.
Most of our leaders come out of organizations. You have to be a part of an organization to be an effective leader. But how do we determine if you're an effective leader if you don't organize the people? You can't just grab the mic or your phone, get on YouTube and say, yo, I'm a good leader because I think I'm a good leader. You have to have a track record of organizing people, setting goals and agendas and getting them done.
Yeah. Politicians I don't really like. Activism is different because, you know, you got a goal. It has nothing to do with politics. When you are activist, you know, it's for your people.
Make sure y'all get ready to tune in to my brother, my big brother, C Gutter and Tad, new podcast, OG Wisdom. Better tune in to that. A lot of jewels, a lot of knowledge, a lot of lifestyle, a lot of street talk, a lot of hood tales, real stories. Check it out. OG Wisdom, Tad, C Gutter.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of the OG Wisdom Podcast with me, your brother Tad, and our brother C Gutter be joining us shortly. All right, welcome to July. Last month, there was a plethora of months represented, the rainbows, black music. But one of the things that got negated was Black Men's Mental Health Month. And I think this is something that's very important because some of us may know, some of us may not know. But there's an attempt to silence the voice of Black men. And I feel, me and my brother Gutter feel, it's very important that our voices be heard, particularly as fathers, uncles, men, sons, and leaders of the community. So I found it very fitting to reach out to a personal friend of mine, a brother that has been doing community work for as long as I can remember. I think I've known him for at least 10 years. And within them 10 years, he's been consistent. He's been solid, 10 toes down. Our brother hail out of Baltimore, no other than our brother, Dr. Dennis Asar Winkler. Doc, how you feeling, brother?
Peace, brother. Doing great. Thanks for having me on. How you do?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Last week, I had a brother in from the UK, our brother Siraj. You know, he's doing a platform on men's mental health. And I like that finally Black people are seeking the help of professionals. How's things been for you since you went from your earlier ministries from when we first met, moving to the clinical psychology field? How's that been for you?
Oh man, how has it been? I guess that's a broad question, but I mean, I'm going to say if we talking about being able to be employed, being able to get work, being able to find some things to do. It's at I would say sadly, there's more work than I can even wish for. There's more work, especially if you're a Black man and also pretty good than you could ask for. I mean, our community is in need of more people in the mental health field. It's saddening, but also, I mean, you can make the money. You can be in demand, but the reality is not enough of us, and we need to do as we are attempting to do. Mental health is not only, and it does not have to only be through people who went through years of schooling, but we have to find a way to tackle this mental health as we have done traditionally always, and really outline those things. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So has it been receptive? Have you working in this profession? Because you know, our community has been kind of skeptical about seeking out professional help. Oh, you're not crazy. Have people been open to you, knowing that you're a leader in the community and always done work in the best interest, or has people been reluctant?
I don't have a problem. Black people, African people are really, really looking for mental health practitioners at this moment. Not everybody, of course. It's still some stigma. Even those who come, there's some stigma, because no one wants to be looked at as crazy. But once people come into the room, especially with me, they like, look, I thought it was going to be something totally different. So it is important that we have culturally responsible mental health clinicians that actually look like, sound like, feel like, smell like, and all those other senses conducting mental health therapeutic clinical practice with our people.
So you burn the incense and making sure you got the shea butter,
Yo,
coconut
I
oil.
do it all. I'm telling you, I might have my hat on one day. You might have the incense another. It depends on the client, you know.
Right.
We can talk a little hip hop. I don't even cuss like that. Sometimes I got to throw some bombs up in there, you know. So whatever it is, you know, I got to do it to relate with our people, and it's not fake because it's in me. But you know what I'm saying is like what I got to do to be culturally competent for my people. That's what we're gonna do. Incense, sound music, you know, meditation, karate. If we're gonna go outside and throw a ball, if we're gonna community events, we take a holistic approach. We can talk about that a little later, but I have a whole center here in Baltimore where we do everything from the mind, the body, the spirit. We got a restaurant in here, it's Jamaican American soul fusion restaurant. We have African artwork. We do all what we need to do. When you walk through the door, people say, look, man, this feels like healing. Just walking through the door, it smells like healing. It tastes like healing. It smells like healing. And that's what we do. We created a center, you know, that is conducive to our people, that is actually for us, by us. You know, I know FUBU, you know, it's still in style, just in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So FUBU, we a FUBU center.
Right. So now a lot of your clients, male or female?
Both.
Both.
In fact, I have many women clients because a lot of them come in to kind of get that brother, like, can you help me? So I'm gonna come and sit with you so that I can understand him, or because I want to come in as couples counseling, marital counseling, whatever it is, you know, or the brother comes in and he tells, oh man, he know what he's doing. And they're like, look, you need to come in. So he brings the sister or the wife and the cousin and whoever. So the sisters do the work. I ain't gonna lie, the sisters do some work up in here.
Shout out to the sisters, and we always, and that's and that's the reason why I asked you, because sisters are more receptive to the healing element. As us as brothers, we've been taught to just take heavy hits, and sure enough, that's part of the manhood process. That's part of the rites of passage, knowing how to deal with difficulties. But we do have to know when enough is enough and when to ask for assistance, which I think is very important. So shout out to the sisters that's helping the brothers heal, because another component I want to jump into later on is relationships.
Right.
You know? And not just relationships of the man and the female, but also the relationship of the father and the son, the father and the daughter, and how that translate into our daughter's mate selection. You know?
If I could just say this, we have I'm going to say it's a ministry, it's a auxiliary, it's out of our mental health practice. We have something called Brothers Helping Brothers. And I will say this, when brothers cross the threshold, you can only imagine the level of things they drop on that floor. I'm going to tell you, when brothers get in that room together, I don't even think we can imagine how deep brothers go in, and the pain that our brothers have and the things that they release in that room. I'm saying all the way down. I'm just keeping it a buck. It's all the way down to the deepest. I was molested, and you will be so surprised on how many brothers were molested.
Right. All right. We got our brother Gutter here backstage. Gutter, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to join. All right. Dr. Asar, this is my brother C. Gutter. C. Gutter, this is my brother Dr. Asar Winkler. Dennis Asar Winkler.
Peace, brother C. Gutter.
All right. So you talked about the abuse. And as you remember, you know, when I was the regional director of the Straight Black Pride movement, that's something that we really zeroed in on, you know, the molestation of our children.
Yes,
and
sir.
People tried to call us crazy. How prevalent was the molestation to the molding of these adults now, the traumatic effect that it has had on them as children?
And when you say, you know, I don't know the stats for brothers, right? And I think it might not even be specifically even accurate, even if we do have some stats. But I do know 1 in 4 sisters have been somehow sexually violated. So in brothers, many times they underreport because brothers don't see it as a thing until they realize it's a thing. You know, they just thought it was cool. But how prevalent is it? It's heavily prevalent, and it causes it causes issues in our relationships even as we get older. In fact, there's a lot of hypersexuality that goes on in our community due to these early childhood experiences that these feelings started at the age of 5. Somebody was touching you. I'm talking about men and women, or men or women found ways to cope with their stresses at that young age through sexual activity. So now when you're 40, 50 years old, it's like smoking cigarettes for 40 years. How you gonna kick that? You ain't gotta kick it all the way, but how you can control it, how you gonna maintain it, how you gonna be faithful to your wife. I mean, we literally have brothers here who say, man, I wanna be faithful to my wife, but man, I am addicted.
So we're dealing with sexual addiction in our community. Gutter, you just jumped in. Anything you want to chime in, or you want to catch up to speed? Anything you want to add?
That's from my experience, that's exactly like he just speaking the gospel. I mean, no, because most especially the people that end up, because like he said, that all of that shit affects you from a young age growing up. That's why you got the dudes in the streets that go to the limits that they go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of that. You know what I mean?
Sexual trauma.
That childhood trauma. Whether it be molestation, you know what I'm saying, or something else, another kind of trauma like abuse,
like physical abuse,
or something like that. But it's some type of trauma that they go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we see that a lot in our community. And I guess, Dr. Saw, would you say that the extensive violence that goes on, do you think that's part of the frustration of them not having an outlet, or the stigma of telling somebody they were molested and they was in pain, so they want to exact pain, or is it something else?
No, I think it's all connected. But as you said earlier, I think it's all types of trauma, right? So it's things that happen to people and then things that don't happen for people, right? Trauma can come from both. It's things that can happen to you and things that don't happen for you. So a lot of us really are frustrated because our parents weren't there even. And not that even all the time that they weren't there. They were sometimes out trying to do their best for us, but we felt neglected. You understand? Or even, to be honest with you, trauma is so heavy that your parents could have did the best for you and you could be a good citizen per se, and then your sister saw it a whole different way, and now she's traumatized because she felt neglected, and the whole time you never even knew that she felt neglected. Your brother felt neglected. See, trauma has to do with your perception of a thing, right? Some people, all this stuff can happen to, but the reality is how you frame it, how you feel. If you felt victorious or you felt like you were oppressed or a victim.
Right. So now I'm glad you brought this up, because we've always held the position that people live your life the way you want to, but the promotion of this LGBT stuff that's being forced on our children, I think unfortunately in our community, a lot of people don't see the implication that it has on the rearing and the development of our children. Do you see a problem in it, or do you think children can be born into that lifestyle? What's your thoughts from your professional position?
Do I think that children can be born into the lifestyle of
the alphabets?
The alphabets. Okay, that's a lot of alphabets. So,
yeah. LGQ.
All right. So I absolutely depending on the alphabet, right? So, and I think it's very, and I think in science is always this nature versus nurture debate, right? I don't think it's clear. I've looked at journal articles and things, and people are still fighting that. But what I can say is one of the alphabets for sure we can be built, born into, and that will be the A, or no, the I, and that hold up, yeah, the I
sexual, A is asexual.
Yeah, the I would definitely be what you can be born into because it's genetically, you can measure that.
Right. Because Me and Sister Keisha, we just did something recently on the
Mhm,
detransitioning of folks who had transitioned. And they
mhm.
talked about how they were preyed on by the medical field as children
Yeah.
to have these drugs pushed on them. And the whole alternative lifestyle was
Mhm.
promoted to them. And they transitioned. Now that they're older and understand that it was a mental health issue that did not get addressed, it was ascribed to sexuality. They want to detransition and they're not getting support from the community. So
So,
part of it
so
is nurture, I would think. But go ahead, Doc.
right. Some of it is nurture, some of it is genetics. So, for example, when we're talking about the eye, though, that's intersex.
Right.
What does that mean?
That means that the person identifies with both. They recognize that they are, like, let's say, a male, but he feels like a female. So he may play out both roles and not necessarily consider himself gay. He just says, I'm intersexual. Asexual, if I'm not mistaken, don't ascribe to any sex, which gets translated into non-binary. The Q
Well,
is
I
queer.
think asexual is ones that is not with sex. Period.
Right. That's a
yeah,
yeah. Like
yeah,
they not with none of that.
right.
Male or female, they not trying to do nothing.
So there lies the confusion. Intersex is like what we used to call a hermaphrodite back in the day.
Right.
So that's not a choice. That's genetically you were born with both or multiple sexual. You might have an XXY or XYX or something like that. So
So
you genetically have all of that.
okay, so the intersex has both. So what we
Yes.
call hermaphrodite is now intersex. Okay, thank you
Yes.
for clearing that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying so if we're going to throw the whole alphabet in there, then we have to kind of tease that out.
Yeah.
Now, does culture have something to play with these things? I would say yes.
Okay.
So now if it's more openly acceptable to be more sexual fluid and do all types of things, of course people, and it becomes norm. It's like weed right now. Like I'm not sure weed is legal, and the closest got the legal in Baltimore, the more I can't drive anywhere and people ain't smoking weed. I'm just saying, like, you
Right.
smell it in your car, and it's a different type of smell. I know y'all know that smell. I don't know. I'm not messing with y'all if y'all do the weed thing. I'm just saying this weed out here right now, this weed out here, boy, you can't miss it. I said, look, when I was younger, I used to like the old people weed. I mean, I didn't like the old people weed because I thought it stunk. But now I smell the old people weed. I'm like, that smells good. I see what they meant back in the day when I thought it stunk. But this stuff out here, even people who smoking know it stink. But no, man, stuff. But no, what I'm saying is culturally, things can become acceptable. And I think that there is, as one of my mentors say, that look, see, I'm a therapist, so I work with everybody. Now, the reality is this, but as one of my mentors say, that we can we can make, like, for example, the whole LGBTQ plus I whole thing and how and the pronouns and all of that, as he says, sometimes we go too far.
Yeah. And I know that community definitely went too far.
And to also answer your question, you could be nurtured into it as well. And you could be nurtured into it through sexual molestation. In fact, I've had clients that told me, I'm talking about young men who I said, and I mean, I got empathy for my brothers and sisters and I grew more empathy when I worked with them. Like, look, if my father was there, he could have protected me and that man wouldn't have raped me and I wouldn't be gay. I've heard people say that. But at the same time, I've also heard people say that if you speak out as a gay person who don't believe that homosexuality is a innate thing, and I'm not arguing whether it is or not, I'm not that smart, but I've looked at the research and articles and it just doesn't seem to be that smart either. But what I'm saying is this: if you stand up and say it's not innate and born, you're not born with it, then you will be ostracized from the very community. So it's a political thing as well that says that, look, if you speak out against us, we're going to get you too. So right. You better fall in place. You understand? So yeah, those people,
that's
like
the nature of the society we live in as well.
Absolutely.
Everything is placed in the political spectrum with power dynamics. If I have the power, that's why us as a community lack that. You see, as soon as somebody violate us, we lack the cohesion and power structure to make somebody really feel that.
Right.
They have lobbyists. Because you got to understand, they organization is set up under white supremacy.
Yeah.
It's basically controlled by white men.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you ask me what I think though holistically, without giving you this elaborate answer, like sound like I'm buck dancing or something. What I'm saying is this. I think all of it is true. I think it's impossible to really tease out whether someone can be born with those tendencies, whether chemically there might be some things going on that make this man more prone to be attracted to men and women be more attracted to women. But also there's this nurture thing that happens that is undoubtedly true, and nurture is also through your experience, your environment, and a part of your environment is the messaging that we get through social media, through education and all of that. So I mean, I'm just going to hold down on that because I don't think any of us are smart enough to say anything different at this point in time.
Yeah, because I was going to say that because, you know, the sexuality is one component of men's mental health because you we dealt with homosexuality and hypersexuality. You know, the brothers saying they want to be faithful to their wives. Now, the violence in our community, do the men open up about that in the healing circles? Absolutely.
That's what they lead with. It's easy to lead with how much money I made, how much of a tough guy I was, you know, do you know who I am, you know, all that type of thing. You know, I mean, real killers, they're like, yeah, I know real killers. I do. I've known real killers my whole life. I ain't killed nobody, but I've known killers. But one thing I like about me growing up around what they call the way or in the hood, what I like about that, well, I'm gonna tell you what I like about that. Let me tell you what I love about it even.
Talk about it, Doc.
Is that I know killers ain't always killers unless they crazy. What I mean is I know some crazy ones. I mean, I'm in Baltimore. I know some crazy ones. I'm gonna be honest, lead, paint, all of that, right? But what I'm saying is even killers on Friday evening, we all hugging and laughing and having fun until, you know, so they're human. Right. We're all human, right? So that is what I love, that I grew up in the hood. I'm talking about a crack neighborhood. So they had dope in Baltimore, they had dope neighborhoods, they have crack neighborhoods. I happen to grow up in a crack neighborhood. You know, they had dope lines. I thought a dope line the first time, I didn't know what that was. But I know what crack is like. It's a very violent thing. And growing up in a crack neighborhood is a very violent neighborhood. At least it was in Baltimore during those times, right? I say I grew up cleanly in the crack era, 80s and 90s. I born in 79, 80s and 90s. I thought crack had always existed. And I thought 5 years ago it was still king on the streets because it was just that normal to me. But what I'm saying is they open up about these things because these are things that give us hood cred and give us cred and show our strengths. And there's nothing wrong with that to a degree. But what's underneath that? What's underneath that is what we're talking about. And many times we didn't realize what was going on. That yo was surviving. Yo mother wasn't there. Yo mother was on crack. Yo, you know, all of this type of thing, right? So underneath of all of that is hurt, pain, and trauma.
So do the brothers, because I know a lot of brothers still have nothing but their reputation. Do the brothers try to quill that down, peel back the layers of who they used to be and try to find out who they are to the core, like a little soul searching, or do they find that tough? Do they still want to hold on to that reputation because that's all they have?
That's why you need somebody like what I'm saying, like myself, right?
Yes.
I'm a troublemaker a bit, right? What I mean is I'm gonna call it ish out. Right. What I mean in a way that they can take it. And why I'm saying that's important because you have to be skillful at that. Yes. Because the reality is this. If you don't call out, they think they playing you. Because brother, look, we've been to prison. They got all types of skills. They know how to finesse. I mean, like it ain't nothing like brothers that been in the street and then been to prison and got a whole lifetime of finesseful skills. You can finesse, and you think when you go in there, who this motherfucker? Excuse my language, y'all. But it's like this PhD. Who is he? You know what I'm saying? So I already know you come there. Who is this clown? I already know you come in like that, right? So I'm waiting. I'm sitting back, listening to you, letting you armor up, do all the whole thing, and then I just dagger you. Bam! bro. So I mean, like I don't know, I can't think of something right now, but then I'm gonna call it out. So
Right.
yeah, so I'm gonna call it out. All the houses you brought, all this stuff you leading with, how you then transition and got 20 trucks now. You got all of that. But what we here for? What we here for? I can't think of an example I did, but
But
what
I
I'm
know what
saying
you
is,
mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like you said, leading with, because unfortunately, because definitely want to talk about dating too and family, but leading with, and a lot of times when our initial introduction, we lead with something. We
mm-hmm,
lead, yeah, I make this kind of money. I work at this job. I do this, I do that, and the third.
mm-hmm,
But that's what you do. Who are you? To the
mm-hmm.
what kind of person you are. And
Wh-
unfortunately, I see a
why you
lot of
here?
right. He asked me yesterday, have I ever been to counseling? I told him for years. I've been
Uh-huh.
in and out of counseling. And anytime
Uh-huh.
I get in that space, I make a phone call. I need help.
Absolutely.
I'm not feeling right. I just need somebody to talk to. And
Yes,
that's it.
sir.
That's how I leave when I go get my help. I call the number. I need
Mm-hmm.
somebody to talk to. And they'll be like, all right, make my appointment, come in. But it's how we lead and how we show up. Because unfortunately, some
Mm-hmm.
people think who we used to be is who we have to be today, not
Mm-hmm.
realize we can grow into our best selves. And that starts with being honest with ourselves. So my question is, how do you help them unpack that? Whatever they're leading with, the money, the cars, the I used to be a pimp. I had 20 hoes on the strip. And how do you get them to unpack that?
Some of them still got the holes on the strip. Some of them, yeah, so I'm just saying, some of them, they still got the holes on the strip. They still struggling back and forth on the street, all of that. But the reality is they try to make a difference. But see, that gives them a sense of of feeling valued, right? And as
Yes.
one of my mentors say, if I can't do it this way, I'm gonna do it that way. I'm gonna be accepted some kind of way. So if I can't do it in the books, I'm going to do it as a bully. I'm going to do it as joining a gang. I'm going to do it some other way. Everybody has the need to feel valued. You know what I'm saying? And then also protected and all these other things that we can talk about. So how do I combat that? Is one way is really reality testing. Is that really, how does that aid in the person you want to be, how does that aid in the person you want to be? And the greatest thing about a group is we got a whole bunch of brothers that they can, after they work with me or brother Curtis or whomever they're working with, is that now it's not just me calling people out. And what makes it stronger, because I'm teaching skills and identifying, but also showing love. And then the other brothers get to call brothers out. Like they might be like, yo, you don't know what you talking about. You ain't never saw no dope. Like, okay. But homeboy got the skills right here on the left-hand side. And now look, they can't say that to him though. You dig? So, or somebody mother, like people, like we all in our minds, what we do. I might be going on a tangent a bit. What we try to do, and I think is unhealthy, is that we try to identify why this person is different than us and can't relate to us. So even if like your mother ain't never died, your mother's still here, you can't empathize, you can't understand. What I can understand is that plenty of other people's parents died. I know how I've had people die in my life that's close to me, but I do understand the difference between being stuck and progressing along. And again, it's not about a time thing, but the reality is I think we have the ability to empathize more than what we give each other credit for, and not understanding the ability for other people's ability or even skill set as a clinician, meaning myself and others, to really empathize and understand, and even understand how research and all that stuff work. Plus being in proximity, like sometimes, being in proximity helps you to be able to understand. I forgot where I was going, but can I answer your question?
Exactly where you was going. It helps you. It helps you understand better, even if you haven't had those experiences. You've been in proximity. You've been there. You've had a close friend lost a mother. You had a best friend growing up as a kid who sold dope. Even though you didn't do it, it was still part of your
everybody but me
reality, right? Yeah,
I'm literally like almost like everybody but me, you know.
No,
you had the experience through other people's experience that were close to
you.
Yeah, exactly. You summed it up beautifully, Gutter. You said something about Doctor. You said values and needs. When I talk to young people, I often implement Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It is part of our value system, whether we consciously or subconsciously know it. Do you use Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs in your clinician work? Because we do have you said we have a need to be accepted. But I always put that on the need to belong. And I tell young people, put it on the scale. Who do you value more, your family or your street family? And put it on the scale, because you may value your street family more because they showed you more love, and your mom's may have been on crack, or you may have got abused at home. Or you may value your house family, your home family more because you were loved and nurtured, but you went to school with a lot of these dudes in the streets. So again, as Gutter said, their reality is your reality. What's your thoughts on Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and do you use that to help the brothers?
So, as a African-centered, a Black psychotherapist, researcher, educator, I think you put me in a precarious spot here. And what I mean by that is, I respect
Maslow. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. So I respect our elders. As I'm not sure if I told you, I'm writing a book right now. And his book is about clinical. It's going to be called. I think it's going to be called Into. Not Into. I'm sorry. It's going to be called Njia, meaning the way or ways, which is Kiswahili.
For those who may not know.
Yes. Right. And I haven't kind of come to conclude what the subtitle will be. But why am I saying this? I'm saying this because a lot of our African-centered scholars would beat me up right now, or I'm thinking like they would lash me if I even gave some level of credence to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, with that being said, I'm not that narrow-minded. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to call.
You're not that rigid. Yeah,
you know, I'm not that. Yeah, thank you, rigid. A better word, right? But I also understand and got some research that Maslow's hierarchy of needs come from some indigenous concepts from the Blackfoot Nation. And I'm not saying no pseudoscience stuff. I ain't saying, you know, everything is black. I ain't doing none of that. I don't even believe it. I don't agree with it. I'm sorry. I just don't. That's why I'm not the regular person in the Black African-centered community, because you ain't going to put me in that box, see, Gutter. Like you said, everybody want to be political and put you in these boxes, right? They ain't, look, I don't care what community you put me in. I'm going to be a problem. I'm sorry. I love to disagree, even if I'm like, I might be wrong, but some of it is just fun just to disagree with you, you know? So, but nonetheless, what I'm saying is I do think that is a part of my work. Even if it's not a conscious thing, because after certain levels of training, it's undeniable that all this stuff is intertwined, right? So it's like asking a question. So what do you think of Freud? Are you a psychoanalyst, or you take psychoanalytic training and all this? And you might say, no, I don't get down with Freud. I don't get down with Freud. I never read anything from Freud. But you cannot get away from Freud, because Freud isn't everybody else's stuff, whether or not they want to agree or not. Right. Like, how do you get away from the subconscious? This pop culture now. Even all of us talk about the subconscious. I am not saying Freud started. It started with them or him or anybody. But what I am saying is white people got to do a good job of labeling things. They do a great job of labeling things, founding things. Say it again.
Excellent job.
Yeah, they know how to copyright it.
Labeling everything, especially shit that ain't theirs.
Absolutely. They know how to patent it. They know how to take it. They know how to use it. They know how to even express it even better than the people who've actually come up with the concepts themselves and say, damn, that's a good idea. I didn't even know how great my idea was, but damn, you made it look good before you stole it, but you did make it look good. I mean, it is good. You know, I like what you did, but nonetheless. So it's impossible for most of us to not deal with Maslow's hierarchy of needs or any of these other Eurocentric concepts that aren't necessarily Eurocentric concepts.
I like that. Eurocentric concepts that are not necessarily Eurocentric concepts. That they pretty much stole it. So Who are some of your OGs in the clinical fields?
I'm going to tell you who I think is look, this is going to be crazy, right? Like, I'm going to tell you who I think is the number one OG at this point I've been reading a lot too. I mean, it's some OGs. I got OGs all around this office right now. I'm just going to be real, right? I got OGs all around. But if I had to say the one who has influenced and inspired me the most on a social level, I would have to say, I would go out to say, look, I'm just going to put it on the record. You know how we debating this whole hip hop thing right now. I'm going to say the OG of OGs is Dr. Amos Wilson.
I knew it. I said, he got to say, or Bobby Wright. I said, if it's Bobby Wright.
Yeah, but I still got to give it to Dr. Amos because he got so much more available to us, although he wasn't respected when he was around as he should have, because, a lot it ain't spooky enough. Dr. Amos Wilson ain't spooky. That's my problem with a lot of our African-centered paradigms, frameworks, theories, and concepts is that you have to be like, I'm not saying telepathy is not real. I'm not saying that women aren't clairvoyant or men aren't either. I'm just saying, how does that look when you come in the counseling room with me and when the sister's saying, I dreamed last night that he was sleeping with her up the street, and I know that's the truth. So I find that to be problematic because now I can't tell her, like, sister, I can't check her. In fact, I have to embrace her now, tell him through my African-centered frameworks that, we're special, we have these powers. You are Eurocentric because you don't understand her. So, I think
that sounds nuts.
That sounds nuts. Right. Like, where you getting this from? I know. My grandmother came to me in a dream and told me. Her name is Sheila.
I'll give you some other people, right? Like, some people don't know this brother. This brother Robert T. Carter. Nobody not gonna know him because we got to throw some research out there though, and some people are really excellent researchers. And Alex Paterse, but I think Alex Paterse is in somewhere in New York teaching somewhere. But anyway, Robert Carter. Now see, then there's also we be all for most people out there in the world, we don't really realize that there's this Eurocentric fight within the field of mental health. And a lot of people won't even lift a sister up like her because she's a clinical social worker, right? She's a PhD, she's a researcher. Dr. Joy DeGrew. OG, she not so totally African-centered. Even Dr. Cambone,
Peace be upon him.
Yes, not that particular Cambone, but Kobe Cambone, but peace be upon him as well, and peace upon both of them, right? Yes. But Kobe Cambone, he has a book. Anyway, look, he has a book called it's about Black African psychology or what have you, and he breaks down like all the different people. I mean, he got African-centered people, pseudo-African-centered people, and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, it's but there's a lot of OGs. But say it again.
That sounds like a good read.
Yes, it is. But I have to give one more person.
No, go ahead.
On a more fundamental, applied level, I would have to say, although y'all mans and them the Bibles be beating up on my look, I ain't with that. I gotta go with him. You know who it is?
Who's that?
My man Naim Akbar.
Oh, nah.
Naim Akbar
was one of the first I read in my early stages of development.
Yes,
that's an early joint.
Yeah,
for me, that's an early. I read that, I think maybe 92, 93.
And it changed people's lives. It changed people's lives. A lot of time when we read this African-centered stuff is very conceptual theory, latent. And so what happens is it's just about Egypt and stuff. Like, I'm not saying Egypt's not important. I got an uncle on Hotep family, but nonetheless.
As our brother Marcus said, is it anointed?
It's anointed, absolutely. Hotep family. But what I'm saying is Dr. Akbar, he lays it down in a way that really transforms lives.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. He makes you want to study more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love community itself because
that's the things that I like with a lot of the OG writers from, because I'm 55. I'll be 55 in October, rather. So for the OG writers like Dr. Ben, Chancellor Williams, like those were people that made me want to like really study more
about us.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
know
sir.
what I mean?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Sheikh Anta, all of those, like those were the dudes that got me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Gutter, was it because they had the courage to really dispel all the myths of the Eurocentric ideas of what blackness is and Africa's contributions? Or was it just because they was great writers? Because they was hell of writers too.
Yeah, look, it was the story. It was how the story was laid out, where even if you weren't as academically inclined, you can relate to whatever they saying. You can put it into logical perspective. They giving you the academics, but they laying it out for you in order for you to get a clear understanding of what they was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
then,
definitely appreciate them too.
then you know, like
Joy DeGrew, because as Minister saw, Doctor saw, and introduced as minister, but now he's a doctor. But as he laid out, because her work is groundbreaking, and it really speaks to the psychology. Her and Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, who be upon her, both of their works,
absolutely,
so necessary. So though we're talking about men's mental health, we definitely want to give our sisters an honorable mention for their contribution.
So then we got to throw another OG up in there, Dr. Of course, you said Dr. Frances Cress Wells, and then you got to throw Dr. Patricia Newton up there. Rest in power.
Yes. Shay. Dr. Patricia Newton. She's from Baltimore, right?
Well, she's not from Baltimore, but she was stationed. She was here in Baltimore all of her adult life, I guess, doing her work. Yeah.
Right.
She's from St. Louis, I believe. St. Louis or something like that. Yeah.
Beautiful spirit. Just a beautiful person altogether she was. Dr. Patricia Newton, you know, not very rigid and academically sterile, like, you know, it's like talking to mama or something.
Yeah.
With auntie.
With a little OG up in there. Like that type of auntie.
Yeah. Want to keep it real with you.
Had a little G. See, that's
a lot of G.
Yeah, but that's how the like I said, the non-academically inclined people, and even the people that really are into academics like that, is able to grasp what she's talking about.
Right.
Because for me personally,
yes, sir,
I think the way you relate it to somebody makes a person be able to understand the information you're giving them.
Absolutely.
Right. So, Doc, in your healing circle, I know you've seen some progress and some brothers who still need a little more work. One of the things I wanted to touch on too, in terms of dealing with men's mental health, is our mate selection or our dating selection. And one of the questions that I pondered is, as Black men, will we let our daughters date a man like us? Why or why not?
Yeah.
That's a question I have for a lot of brothers, including myself, you know, because we're all a work in progress. And I think that's part of the self-reflection, the inner works that needs to be done. Something mentioned by Dr. Naeem Akbar in Community Ourself, you know, who are we inside? Who are these people? What are truths about us? And what are lies about us? What do we accept and what do we reject? Given that thought, what's your position on that? Not you personally, but as Black men as a whole, the pros and cons of our daughters dating us.
Oh man, I want to back up just a second though with how you prefaced, and you said, you know, there's probably some brothers that need a little bit more work.
Yes.
And how I try to preface this is, and try to help us understand this, especially brothers who are in a circle. Because lots of times what happens is we come into these circles and we come into these communities and things, especially these mental health circles, and we look at it as, you know, I'm going to come here and I'm going to fix myself. And that, from my standpoint, is Eurocentric. And I also see that as being problematic, because what happens is, as you also said, as you wrapped up what you were saying, is that is a continual process, right? And what I try to do is normalize these circles, right? Normalize Black people coming together, and that in traditional cultures and societies, you don't just go out and live by yourself and don't have a circle of brothers or a shaman or a elder that you can come and talk to. So when I from my framework, which I would call African Senate, minus the extra spooky stuff. I mean, a little spooky is fine, but not too much. I think it's balanced. I think it's Mayat. Do a little spooky, do a little logic, and we can put it all together, and it is what it is. But the thing is, but it's normal and it's healthy to continue this process. It's healthy and not to look at this as there's an end date. In fact, you can look at this as an ongoing thing. Even if you don't do it here, go and join some type of group, even if that's a men's circle or a healing circle, extended rite of passage, some type of brotherhood, something like that, because and it also is a healthy place where we can hold each other accountable and help each other grow and transform and transition. Because the reality is what you see in our communities is, especially in our brothers and sisters, are how they were reared, connected with their DNA or their genetics creates what we call personality. And so a lot of times our problems that we see is engraved in us. And in order for us to make change, to be honest with you, we have to really now restructure some of these things, because one of the major issues that we haven't touched on right now is this trauma. And the key thing that I always point out, if you can remember what trauma does to a person, it impacts them in a way that they can't trust people. It impacts us in a way that we don't even trust ourselves. So again, most of us struggle with trusting another, right? It's hence because we haven't even learned to trust ourselves. So it's kind of like this thing, like, am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? And so, and I think we'll talk about it later as we talk more about relationships and how that impacts relationships. But as far as getting back now to what you spoke about, as far as the children, I mean, I think that most men at their core, even if they've done all that dirt, quote unquote, would want their daughter to have someone like them who is truly a loving human being, right? Because most of us are we're human beings. And we mean well. So I would want somebody at my core that has my core intentions, the things I desire that I want out of life, even for other people. But I also struggle at the same time putting that into action. So I want someone who has my heart, but not the person, not what exactly I do, the behaviors that I exhibit, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, you was gonna say something.
I was gonna say, you wouldn't want your daughter to date the person you were at 19, 20, 21. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what type of person you were at that age. For me, personally, for me. You understand what I'm saying? Because I can't speak for every other black man, but I'm talking about personally for me and people of my ilk, people that ran the streets and did the stuff that I did. You know what I mean? At 19, 20, there's no way. There's no way I want my daughter even speaking to an individual like me.
Mm-hmm.
But as I matured, of course, because now I still have those elements, but now it's on a protective stage.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Solely. You understand what I'm saying? It's solely on a protective stage, and all the things that I'd experienced before then. Yeah, of course, because now he knows what's going on, what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But now he's just not in that element anymore.
Right.
So it depends. That's why I say that question is kind of like tricky.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
Stages of growth. We got stages of growth. You know what I mean? And like he said, when you said like he as far as fixing, I'm in agreement with that. It's like we're not trying to get fixed, we're trying to grow.
Absolutely.
You know
that's what it is. Because let me clarify that statement. There's brothers we know still needs not fixing per se, but growth. Some
Mhm.
brothers don't want
Yeah.
to grow, and we have to be honest about that. We can look within our own family. We don't even have to look outside of our house sometimes. We can see
Absolutely.
it within our own family. The arrested development. They like, yo, this is how I've been. This is how I am. I'm not going to see no doctor, nobody. I don't care if that's your man. I'm not doing that. And then there's some of us, like us brothers here, and those who may be tuned in, that do want to grow, that realize we haven't always made the best choices, but by the grace of the Creator and the ancestors, we've been able to grow and develop and become more mature men, and still even have an interest in our children and their development, that we would consider mate selection and not do it haphazardly like some of us may have done. Just got with a shorty with a fat bubble, did the 1-2, and now we the baby daddy. That's
Yeah.
why I also preface that with mate selection, not just us as men, but who the men we're becoming. Because unfortunately, whether we acknowledge it or not, some sisters are entertaining the thoughts of dating outside of the race. Now, you're gonna be with who you're gonna be with. However, if I have a choice, all my grandchildren are going to be black. Thank goodness that the grandchildren I have are black. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Chinese people wanting Chinese grandchildren, or white folks wanting white grandchildren. There's nothing wrong with black people wanting black grandchildren. Unfortunately, with the misinformation that goes on in the world, we've been positioned as an inferior class, and nobody really want to deal with us except the Asians now, who giving brothers some bread to come over and drop seeds over there. This is stuff that I want brothers to ask themselves as we move forward on our healing journey, because it is a journey, Doc. Brother
Can I
Gutter.
say something?
Yeah.
Can I like to reframe something if I can. It could be challenged too. I like a little challenge. But I think, and I agree that lots of us seemingly on the surface level don't want to grow. I think that's the surface level. So I think it's 100% exact. But I think underneath all of us, we do want to grow. But some of us have more fear, and the more fear that you have, the more you're trapped into that state. It's kind of like, we know people who use drugs. It's really a difficult thing to shake. You can't even. What am I going to do without this culture that I'm in? Like, we know that people who actually utilize drugs know that culture. Like, the culture. Like, you might be even a man in that culture. You know what I'm saying? You might be the man or the woman in that culture. We might be looking at them like something wrong with them, but they the man in the culture. They can jack some stuff out of your house better than anybody. They can do this, they can do that. They can took more, and they know how to get it the best. They know where the best dosage at. I don't know. I can't even imagine. I can only imagine. Let me say, I can only go by stories and all those type of things. But you can imagine, though, because even all of us have had some experiences where we said, like, for example, I went back to school, right? I was already a man, like literally in business and all this and all that. Now you gotta go back to school, and you have to now put your ego aside, and you have to say, look, I have to learn, because you popping, you the man or the woman. Now you gotta go there, and a lot of us struggle who can't put our egos aside, because it's a very fearful thing. And that's why, again, as we start off the show, I think is that's why people hold on to that yesterday. You understand? I hold on to that yesterday, because that yesterday I was a somebody. And I want you to know that I was somebody, no matter if that was killing people or if that was doing the best at math. I could be horrible at math, but I'm going to tell you how good I was at math. So that's a natural human thing that we want. But lots of times when we get stuck there, we just get stuck there. Marines, as Dr. Ray Higgins used to say, he used to talk about how you walk, like those Marines, they still talk about Marine stuff 50 years after Vietnam. I don't know how many years Vietnam is. That's not my thing. But
I wasn't there.
50,
yeah.
Round 50.
Okay.
Last pullout was 75.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Round 50.
About 50 years, yeah.
You hit it almost on the head.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's dope that you say that, because I can remember reading a book called The Body Keeps Score, and the writer talked about that so many of the vets were closed off, and she had different age groups, because she did have vets from the Vietnam War and vets from World War II, and they were all so closed up, and they brought them into a group, and once they were able to find the common ground, which was the war, they all opened up, found brotherhood and camaraderie, and they
Right.
came back every week just to talk about the war. Not even so
Right.
much what's going on with them now, but to talk about the war, and they use that to help them. And this is why I wanted you on, because this conversation needs to be had, because unfortunately, like, we still live in the hood. I ain't hit the number yet that I can move out to Beverly Hills. So I'm still with the brothers, you know what I'm saying? However, me and Gutter have grown from what people have known us for. That's why we become the OGs. And we want to help those brothers behind us who may have this fear factor, that don't think they can grow, because anything new is fearful, you know. And I think I said this on the show before, no matter where you start, it's always scary, whether you're going to a new job or going to a new school. And I want our brothers to know, man, we done faced the police, we done faced real killers in the hood. We shouldn't be afraid of transforming our lives for the better. And this is why I wanted you here, so we can have these conversations, because this is what this platform is about growth. You know what I'm saying? But me and Gutter still from the hood. We still in the hood. We still live in the hood, hang with hood dudes. It's nothing different except the elevation. We want to do age appropriate things. And as OGs 50 plus, we feel it's our duty to really teach the community, not just preach about it, but we use this platform to teach. And that's why I got you here, because I know you 10 toes down and solid and African centered from the hood. Because remember, I didn't get you down there to a couple of your TNAT events, you know,
around the way, in the way. I mean, real way.
The way. Yeah. He's got the way over here, son. You know, and that's what our people need to see. You know what I'm saying? They need to see the authenticity, that there's nothing wrong with growing. Because you still, unfortunately, and I'm quite sure it's the same thing in Baltimore, we still got 40-year-old teenagers. You know what I mean? And that's not.
You know, I like to say, look, right here where we are now, we ain't on the exact, we not on the exact strip anymore. I mean, some things going on, but where we were before in Baltimore, they call it hitting the hole, right? Like you selling dope, hitting the hole. We were right there. Like, so I had to kind of do all the hood politics with them, all of that type of thing, you know, but I didn't realize how much that was taking a toll on my body. But what I'm saying, what was I going to say? I was going to say something about out here.
That you moved up like George and Weezy.
No, really, I had to move out of there to some degree. We still around the way. It's just a little different, you know. Like I said, it's like out there, I had to I'm trying to do meditation with people, but bullets flying through windows and stuff. You know what I mean? So literally that they trying to kick marijuana or pills or whatever. As soon as they walk out the door, got that, got this, got that. So. You know, I had to do a little, they had to at least walk a block up or something, or block that way to get it now, you know? It's a little different. Yeah.
And see, this speaks to our trauma, right? Because here you're talking about meditation and bullets, and we laughing. Shows you the work we still need to be done. Because other groups are like, oh my God, that's frightening. That's horrible.
No, that's real.
Yeah, it's reality. Yeah, it's our real.
That's what I was going to say. Y'all got me back to where I'm going. So in COVID, I decided to move up here. And I did not realize the amount of skill sets that you have to use when you're around way.
Yeah.
Or what we call the hood.
Yeah.
We got hoods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they like the snorkel eater. I don't know. It used to be something back in the day. But nonetheless, the hood. And what I'm saying is, like, I still live in a black neighborhood. Just got my little plot of grass is a little longer. It's a little longer. Look, I'm still in the city. I mean, it's a little long. I got a little yard to cut. You know, that I would not want to do with a weed whacker. But what I'm saying, but for all intents and purposes, anything black they consider the hood. But nonetheless, and that's a whole nother thing to talk about. But that what I've noticed, and there's research on this, is when I stop going into my office every day and having to compete with, I'm saying I'm not to compete in a bad way. I'm pretty good. I'm good. I mean, like, you could probably tell I could go around any hood. I could probably just talk. Yo, what? Then they're like, oh, what's up, OG? What's up, big man? Da da da. What it is? Da da da. Whoa. Yo, homie. Yo, don't be around here. Y'all got respect, homie. Dude, I got the beard too, so they think I'm Muslim. Most of them, they don't know what the hell I'm. I got my African dashiki. You know, all they know is, look, yo, stay out of OG way, let him do his business, somebody come, we got you, bro, that type of thing, right? Yeah. So nonetheless, but what I'm saying with all of that, I mean, I had a few conflicts, but not major. I'm almost major, but nonetheless, what I'm saying is this. Even with that, with all my skills, once I moved up here, or when COVID happened, I wasn't going into my office more. I realized how my neurological system was more at rest. It's a lot of work, if we want to say it or not, to really do all this hood politicking. You got to really, it's like being on Capitol Hill. You know, you don't trust them. You know, you don't trust those people on Capitol Hill. But you know, even if you do trust people a certain way, it's especially where I was at. See, in East Baltimore, it's funny because these hood vlogs are going on. This brother named Vontae from Baltimore, and they asking people from West Baltimore, what's the difference between East Baltimore and West Baltimore? They said East Baltimore, they more grimy, they more gutter. We about to get our money over West. You know, we together. But literally, see, I grew up again. I told you in a crack neighborhood. So in this neighborhood, I had to pick up new skills. And the new skills was that everybody's for their self out there. And I didn't understand that because I didn't understand everybody running around doing their thing, selling weed. And it was weed too. That's a whole different thing. It was weed and pills, but majorly weed, but everybody still was cutthroat. So it was like so wild. And where's the rhyme and the reason? But that did a lot on my body, on me on a physiological level. I was never really at rest. Even when I'm in the goddamn room doing counseling, when I'm in the room doing the counseling, I'm literally positioning my client in behind a brick wall, and I'm by the window because I'm always prepared. If something pop off, I already know what I'm going to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Literally, these are the thoughts that's in my mind. I got music playing in my office because it's so much ruckus going on outside. So much ruckus going on outside. I got a towel covering. I got a towel stuffed in my mail slot with tape over it because the aroma from all the weed and different other chemicals coming through. I'm telling you, to make a place that's little different than outside those doors. So, but what I'm saying, it does something to us physiologically, and it also kills us. So we have to find a way to to bring some structure, organization back to these communities.
No, and that's necessary. Sister K Fighter, Sister Keisha said, so the question remains, would you be okay with dating a man like you?
Oh, like me?
No. Any of us, for any of us. I guess that question is for all of us.
Absolutely.
Gave a synopsis. Would you say,
Doc? I said absolutely.
You would let your daughter.
Absolutely. I've been with my wife since I was 16.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. And Gutter, you already gave your answer, right? You said
I'm coming from a different paradigm. You know what I mean? We're coming from different paradigms. So it's, it's when I was 19, 20, absolutely not. Look, right. He been with his wife since he was 16. At 16, you know what I was doing?
What's that? Well, I know. You can let the audience know.
We outside. We was outside doing things,
booking things. Yeah. Those who don't know, that's Robin. Yeah. Everything. Me and my man El was just talking about that last night. You know, when you're young, you pretty much stay in shape because you digging pockets. For those who don't know, that's aggressively pickpocketing people. Yeah, said till you earn all the money, come through the lobby, and then you post up.
And I still have to agree though with my brother Gutter. Even with me saying that I've been with my wife since I was 16, that if I could get one that's closer to my current me now, I would be much more comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let them deal with the old me. The old Tad, nah. The 40 and up, yeah. Not the teenage Tad. Early 20s maybe, but I wasn't 100%, but I was on my way. But it was still some kinks I had to work out. I mean, I'm still working out kinks now, but I ain't who I used to be back then. It's all about growth over here. But
my temper is way better.
Oh yeah. And that's what I was about to say. I was like I'm like I've never been like a bad person, but the reality is you're not always the best person to be in a relationship with.
Exactly.
Like although, you know, I'm not saying I was the worst person to be in a relationship with, but at this point in my life and development, and I want to say over the last 10 years, even more so, that I'm a much easier person to be in a relationship with. In fact, even in my young 20s, I started a major business, right? Like business. I had like a satellite installation company, and I'm thinking like, look, for real, like, I mean, like in my mind, I'm making mad money. I'm like, I'm serious, like killing it. Like I didn't even think I could make that much money. So it's like, look, I'm working. Look, so I mean, I'm living my life too. I'm out there buying my crew pizza. We eating, we doing this, having fun, playing shot. Might be doing ping pong, anything inside of our thing. But at the end of the day, I'm coming home 11 to 12 o'clock at night, and she like wants some attention, huh? And I'm like, look, I said again,
that ain't good.
Yeah, like, and I mean, she come down to the shop too, right? She would come down too. But what I'm saying is, in my mind, in many men's minds, it's like, look, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm providing. I'm doing this. You get to keep your check, like whatever it is. And I'm saying a good guy. And that's instilled in my mind. And I had to realize how to be in a relationship. And we are horrible in relationships.
I had the homie over at the crib playing games, and she wanted to go to bed. And we playing Street Fighter, smoking weed, drinking 40s.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm young. And like you said, you know, you doing everything. You footing the bill. So you like, I'm the king of the castle, but you're not a good kid.
And she had a job too, and she was making good money. It's just like, I'm making the most money. I'm making way more money. So it's like, and this is, I'm saying, and being a very nice guy though. I'm saying a nice guy.
Right. Stayed out the streets, stayed out of jail.
It was probably a good partner to some degree, but a horrible one to another.
Right. And see, these are the honest conversations we have to have with ourselves about who we are as men in this day, so we can help the young brothers.
Absolutely.
You know, my daughter has a boyfriend, right? Rather her son's father, because they're not together anymore. I really like the kid. He's a good kid. Actually, he's too soft for my daughter. You know, because he's a real good kid. Like, he's a good kid. And I'm just like, I hope my baby don't destroy this little man.
I get it.
So yeah, he and I have good father-son, if you will, conversations, because he still called me dad and things like that. And it makes me think, because my daughter's tough. Like, she's a gorgeous young lady, but she's rough. Like, she's like, she's very, very strong and demanding, because I had to deal with that raising her. I had to deal with the arguments and confrontations. So I was like, any guy she get with got to be a pushover. And, you know, but he's a good guy. And these are questions I ask myself, because me, like, I'm strong-willed. I'm always going to be a man. Like Gutter said, you know, my temper is not what it used to be. Like Gutter said, his temper is way down. Mine was, you know, I had a hair trigger temper, you know, and I think for me, this helped my development, because sometimes I look at him and part of me wants to be like him. He don't argue, he don't fight, he don't get in no trouble. He's a good kid. And I like good kids, you know what I'm saying? And he's a good provider, you know. My thing is this, as men, and just those maybe watching on the live and the playback, I want us to get into ourselves. Get Naeem Akbar's book, Community of Thyself, if you can. Read Baba Walima's Barudi's book, Iwa, about a warrior's character, you know, because I don't think we have enough conversations about character development and building. And I think we all need that, because a lot of us may have OGs to an extent, but not those that's really focused in on character development. And that's really what's missing. As you said, Doc, you know, you was making the money, you was coming home, you was taking care of your whole team, you thought you was doing right, but that element in your character was missing, of giving your lady attention. Go ahead.
I appreciate you said that. And that's the piece right there. You broke it down what I didn't say. I thought I was doing right. Yes. And lots of times brothers think they are doing right. You picked up on what I was trying to introduce. You think you're doing right. And I was thinking about it as I sat here. Lots of times brothers sit around and everything has to make sense. Like, so why we need to go and do this? Why do you want me to Why do you want me to hug you when we walk out? Like, why do you want me to go? Like, you said we didn't go to the movies last week. You said we don't spend time together, but I mean, let's pull out the calendar. Hold up. In fact, I don't have a calendar at that point because I wasn't that sophisticated. But hold up, I remember this day. And hold up, and this last weekend. And hold up, but didn't we just go here? And she like, well, but at the same time, not really understanding the language. Like, that's not even what I'm really asking for. I'm asking for more of you. And a problem that we had with brothers also, in fact, we had a brother here last night, Dr. Max T. Ragland, speaking about putting your dog to sleep. And that brothers, lots of times, we do not understand how to connect emotionally. And that is a major issue with not only our wives or mates, even our children, especially the girl children. And even the boy children, even. Especially nowadays, everybody know about feelings besides people over 35. You know, and some part of it is like I like the like it a bit. Like I like the directness that you could be when you 40 and over. Like I like it. Like it's like it's like a part that I really like about it. Like I don't have to sugarcoat. I don't have to like beat around the bush. I mean, I can be a little careful, but I can just be like me. But at the same time, you gotta understand other people's feelings and their ideas, and everything is not logical. And then guess what though? I'm gonna tell you what I found out, brothers. When you can tap in emotionally with your women, the sex gets better. Excuse me. The love, huh?
This grown folks, you can go ahead.
The love making is better. Is even euphoric. Like what I mean is like I don't look honestly. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Like I don't even think like men think because they nut. Excuse my language. Ejaculate. They think they really orgasm. They think they had a climax, but it's a difference. I'm saying like this is my stuff. This ain't what I read. I think I have read it though. I have went to kind of like back it up a little bit. That literally, like when you are emotionally connected, because those trust things that we have as people, when you're in relationships and you still don't trust each other, and we're still fighting each other, and we're trying to win. That's the real thing. We be trying to win, and then so now you're in a relationship, and everybody's you mean well, you want to be in a relationship, but the reality is that you're still competing with your partner. So somebody has to let what they call be vulnerable. And I'll be honest, my wife's from Jamaica. She wasn't the vulnerable one first.
All about them things that.
Yes, she wasn't the vulnerable one first. But what I realized in my development, in my training, in my readings, that I began to even the African Sentinel readings. Oh, my yacht and the woman is this and that. But that even wasn't enough. But when I started becoming clinically trained and reading some of the books and all that type of thing, I started to understand it a lot better.
Right.
So when I started arguing with her, just because I realized this is her personality. That's another thing. She look, Jamaicans suck their teeth. All that, and they might not. This is generalities, family. No, I'm just being general here. You know, huh? But and they can be stubborn. My wife can be, and she probably say I'm stubborn in my own way. But I'm saying that I took the effort to be more vulnerable, not argue with her just because she mad in her mood. Like a lot of women. Like, let me stop. Like, see, men and women are different emotionally. This is what I had to learn too. Like men, like especially me, I'm not that. It might seem like I'm excitable type of guy. I'm not that excitable though. Like this is probably the most like what you see. I can get aggressive and I can get like animated a bit, but I'm not really that. In my jokes are even serious. It's like taking shots at people type of joke thing. Like it's fun, those type of jokes. But I'm not like dramatic, and I'm not like. I'm not like, I don't know what to call it, but nonetheless, I'm still a middle guy. I'm in the middle. I'm not going to go to the press. Huh?
You're snarky.
I'm snarky. Yeah, I can be a little snarky. Yeah, I can be snarky. I can be witty. I'm witty. But it's in the middle. I'm not going to get, this is so beautiful. Like some people, like women can go there. Some men too. But like really, what happens is they get to be the saddest people, but also the most excited people. So they get to experience emotions that a lot of us don't never get to experience. They get to experience euphoria on whole different levels. Like men, even if you're having sex, you might not even scream. Even that screaming piece, that's a part of the whole thing. You know what? Like you're not gonna be that vulnerable, but I guarantee you that enhances the experience. You know, go ahead, Claire. Tell you like you got something.
I'm just laughing
Because we like middle people. We kind of like constricted between here and here, right? So, and I'm a middle guy. I'll just be honest with you. And I like middle people. I like talking to middle people. People just, logically you can debate, you can say things and not, all types of things, right? I like intellectual stuff, but when you tap into that emotional side, I ain't say you gotta stay there, but at least do it with your woman. Do it with your children. Do it with your children, And I think we can change some things.
Oh, nah, that's real, Doc. So brothers out there, get in touch with your emotional side.
Yes, sir.
Now, yo, it's funny because I ain't know what O was real. I just thought releasing was the O until I got in my 20s, And then I was like, oh, with somebody I like, I mean, we had children and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. All the time. That's what I was missing out on. So you got to be vulnerable, brothers.
And breathing. That's the thing. Like when you are in competition, you don't feel safe and all that. You don't breathe well. And breathing is a part of that process.
Yes, definitely breathe. Anything you want to add on to that, Brother Gutter?
I mean, I did a lot of time incarcerated, so I didn't get a chance to experience what y'all brothers experienced. I ain't get to experience that. So
yeah.
But
oh man. So Doc, what's next for you? Like what are you planning on next? Because I mean, you got TNAC. Tell the folks about TNAC, your clinical practice and your restaurant. And I know you got something else on the horizon.
So, all right. So I've been teaching at a school in Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania, over the last few years as a full-time faculty member. I realized what racism is now.
I'm about to say southwestern Pennsylvania. I mean, nowhere near Philly.
No, it's not nowhere near Baltimore either.
Yeah, it's close to that's Pittsburgh and all that, right?
Yeah, you got it.
An African-centered teacher.
Oh, I mean, and I wrote about microaggressions. Go ahead, brother.
That's East Coast hillbilly land.
Oh, look, it's East Coast hillbilly. It ain't even real. Look, my brother, my homie, my brother, my good brother, who also does the groups, Brother Curtis. You know Brother Curtis, Brother Tad?
Nah, I don't think so.
Tall, dark-skinned brother. Anyway, he's good brother. He just can't. Anyway, he got a good story too. He grew up in Pittsburgh. He loves Baltimore because it's so black. So he's my main man, right? And the first time I went up there, it's a whole nother story why I ended up there and I got my degree up there and everything, my PhD and all. There's a whole story. But I've never went to a place that's so white. Like even when you walk in the buildings, the children look at you. And I mean, like they're looking at you like you something special, like something they saw on television, but they never saw in real life. Like up in those mountains, it's beautiful up there. But when I'm coming back to your question, Brother Ted. But the thing is, so I've been educating white folk up there for the most part, maybe 9 out of 10 white, if that much. It's been an experience. I've realized what racism is. And I mean, it's not necessarily like they don't think they're racist. The group of people up there, because they're liberals, they're working on master's degrees and PhDs. And what happened is, I decided as a result of the experience not to continue up there full time. Anyhow, I did my 2 years is on my resume. I'm looking to do something at Bowie, Morgan, Howard, something like that. Part time. So I'm picking up my clinical practice now. Picking it back up. full time in August. As you can probably see behind me, that's where I do my group set all the way back there.
Okay.
I'm also looking for clinicians. What are we doing? So I plan to continue to write. Put this book out that's very practical for practical African-centered counseling, psychotherapy approaches versus what we have out here now. I could plan to do that. I plan to at some point maybe pick up in academia just a little bit again, but right now build the practice, continue to build the restaurant downstairs. Every 2 weeks we have what we call a community university series at downstairs in the main area. On the second Saturday and fourth Saturday of the month, we have brothers. We got Dr. Santi coming. I know he's been on some fire, but I like fire.
Santi?
Say it again. Dr. Malefic Santi. Yeah, we got him coming on August the 3rd. And I look to continue to kind of build even like what you all are doing. This podcast thing with I've been doing some things with Tahaka Bay. I like controversial people.
Shout out to Tahaka Bay.
Yeah. So I supposed to be going out to this festival to meet up with him later on in the day. So yeah, he's a good brother. I know he's controversial, but it is what it is. And yeah, he and I are supposed to start something called Unbiased Perspectives. That's going to be happening on Mondays.
So you more now?
Say it again.
You were coming to more?
Oh no, well, I'm Pan-African in my understanding. I give respect to Noble Drew Ali and all the rest of them, but no, I'm a more by birth, not by religion.
K Fighter said he crazy. Our brother Tahaka Bay. He is controversial. We love him though. Yeah, because he like rough feathers too.
Yeah. So he can do the part that I don't want to do. Yeah. I just plan on to do what I'm doing, but just continue doing it and improving it, expanding. Yeah.
Sister K Fighter told me to check my status. I might not be African, Doc.
You might not be African.
I might be a Hebrew Israelite Moorish indigenous brother from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you could be you say Puerto Rican?
Yeah, from Puerto Rico.
Oh, from Puerto Rico. Oh, okay.
Not necessarily Puerto Rican.
Oh, from Puerto Rico.
My brother. Now I'm messing with you, Doc.
Say it again.
I said I'm messing with you. I said, I could be from Puerto Rico, but not Puerto Rican.
Oh yeah, that's you can though.
That's the pseudo in me. That's the pseudo.
No. You came to America. You gave up your nationality, and now you've naturalized in America. Now you're American, although Puerto Rico is also American domicile. Yeah. So yeah, it's all confusion. That's what I try to tell people. I like having fun with that.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes said y'all ain't do nothing. The Latinos and the Jamaicans brought everything to y'all African Americans.
Yeah. Him and Akon said we ain't got nothing.
Y'all ain't got nothing coming.
Said we ain't got no culture.
Me and Tad already kind of spoke on American culture because all the good out of American culture is the black culture.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like that.
Just look at the music. From even the music that they've colonized and taken over, country, rock and roll. That's our music. So the singing, the dances, even they dances, the colloquialisms, is the speech. You know what I mean? The food. Is like you can't name a white food in America.
Cheese.
No, but it's gonna be either German, Italian, Irish. It's not this. You're not gonna find white food.
That's
but you definitely find black food.
Yeah. Shout out to my collard green people.
You know what I'm saying? You definitely find black food with black American food.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you have Jamaican dishes. You have, you know what I'm saying? You have
no white American food, you say?
Nah.
All right.
Not even sauerkraut.
That's German.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Not even
That's what I'm saying. There's no white America. There's nothing that they created in America that they created.
That's beneficial.
Once they became white in the late 1600s.
Yeah. So you mean they haven't made any creation since? But I tell you what, the white creation is all the like you saying all the yes, that's it.
Yeah. That's the only thing they created was terror and war.
I won't even debate you on any of it. Even if it's a inkling wrong, I'm going to go with what you say.
Because yeah,
I look. I told somebody I'm not debating. I'm not debating for white people.
Think about it. Then when it comes to hip hop, you got to think about it. Anybody that comes from somewhere else had to assimilate into the Black American culture in order to become part of hip hop. So you didn't create anything. You just became a part of the Black American culture that formed.
Right.
You made you that was your contribution. That you came into Black American culture and gave a contribution but we got to understand also in New York, like the melange of the different cultures, you know what I mean? But it's the way we put our spin on this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's Black American.
Yeah. Do you want to add on to that, Doc? Because Doc have a position on that too, but it's pretty much in alignment with yours, with ours.
You said I have a what?
You have a position, but it's pretty much in alignment with ours.
Oh
with
no, I agree. I was just reading this podcast. I'm sorry, this comment about young men being way more emotional today. Yeah. I mean, and I think that again, a lot like right now, what's happening in our culture, in our society right now, is that what happens is we do this pendulum type of thing where you have no emotions, too many emotions, to too less emotions. So I think it's like this in between, this middle spot that we got to get, because and we got to. And another thing, if I can say, speaking to families, is that a lot of us, we have. I know this word is not popular, and maybe I'll use understanding versus forgiveness, or contextualization versus forgiveness. When we look at how we were reared, many times, a lot of us are dealing with that trauma of not having our parents the way we think that we should have had them when we were young. And lots of times our parents were even more closed off than we are now. And so some of that, to be honest with you, because they were so closed off that some of us smothered our children. And we don't really know why they were closed off due to their conditions and times, and how what they had that was in them to survive. And we don't really know their stories, which is even more difficult. And even if they've done this thing is really major. I'm suggesting that we take a little time to really, when we read these books about our people, really understand that trauma is real. And when that trauma is real, understand that it manifests in our communities, our neighborhoods, our households in ways that are real. And I think that we have to really deal with how it manifests in our households. And lots of times it's abusive, to be honest with you. And abuse, what I've learned is most of us don't know what it is. And I had to learn what it was. I was like, whoa. Like, I actually did domestic violence groups from brothers and men. And most people would not have thought for some of the things that they did that they were going to get a second degree assault. For some of the simple things they did, like just grabbing their partner from going in the street, or trying to keep them from going outside, or whatever, right? Like most people don't think that is a serious offense. I mean, I'm not saying that's where it stayed, but the reality is we have to educate, as you all spoke about, because a lot of time we just don't know. Just like we don't know how to connect, as Kate Fighter says, and some of us are connecting too much. But what I'm suggesting that we also do is we have to balance this equation out, because right now I do feel like there's an attack on to some degree on brothers who find it difficult to empathize. And one of the things I say is this is, lots of times you struggle with empathy due to your environment. And now the people who say they empathize a lot can't empathize with the people who struggle with empathizing. So
yeah, that's I ain't gonna lie, that's me. I got a problem with empathizing when brothers are outside, they've been outside for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and something happens, and then I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's like it's not so much as a lack of empathy, but it's just, I saw the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing this for X amount of years, and honestly, it don't take an extended period of time. But if you've been outside 6 months, it can happen to you. 2 weeks, it can happen to you. You know what I'm saying? But I was just saying, like, for young dudes that make the mistake and they come outside, I have more empathy. But for those brothers that been you been to jail, you came out, you did this, you been shot, you shot, woo, and then something happens. It's hard for me to empathize because I've been in those situations.
Right.
You know, so it's like, bro, it's like it's like, and I feel bad for the family and everybody that was hurt.
Right.
But for them, I can't feel as much empathy.
Because that's what we sign up for when we jump in that life.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I tell people, that's why me and Tad are constantly telling the brothers that this is not the lifestyle that you want to jump into.
Right.
On the other end of that, what I realized working with people, like I'm gonna give you an example. You all heard of Job Corps before?
Yeah.
So I did my training when I was becoming a clinician. I was doing my internship. I did one of my internships at Job Corps. So children or youth from Baltimore and DC, which is not a good mix already. But yeah, come together, and it was okay, but it still was, what happened was, what I realized in my work with these young men, I had one young brother from Baltimore, and it's several other brothers, but I had a little favoritism going on. It was cool, laid back. Little tribal thing going on here. No, but I really loved all my brothers. I'll be honest with you. But this one, he gives a good story, right? It's a good story. A good example. He was trying his best, young brother. He lived on Pennsylvania Avenue in Baltimore. If you that's a district where a lot of the Chitlin Circuit, Billie Holiday, and all of them was all around there, and all this type of thing, the Royal Theater and all this type of thing back in the day. But it's a major neighborhood in West Baltimore. You know about what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's a major neighbor, West Baltimore, and some of the Y and all that is around that area. And he would come out to him, and others like him would come out to Job Corps, which is far out in really in a rural area. And they were losing their minds out there because it looks so beautiful for someone who is used to this. Like, you come onto this campus, and first you got to ignore the graveyard as you drive through that first, and then you get up there, a fountain, is greenery and all this type of thing. But no stimulation, no sense of stimulation. So they were losing their damn minds so much so that they had to create the stimulation. In fact, some of them will walk 10 miles or however, it felt like longer than 10 miles to the county. Like, you have like rural, suburban, then you have the urban, right? So this is the tip of the rural area. So they walking from this rural area. It ain't no paved street, some of them, huh?
All the way back to Baltimore.
All the way back to Baltimore County, right? And this is Woodstock, is part of it is in Baltimore County, but it's out in, I forgot the other county. But yeah, they walking all the way there, going in trees and all types of stuff. Or even if they go to some level of civilization, not enough stimulation. And if they stayed there, they created the stimulation. They had to create the stimulation at the place. So it was so foreign to them that they could not adapt. So when you're dealing with trauma, even there's something about stimulation that helps you feel alive. So what happens is you go back like this, like, dude, like I'm going home. I know I might get killed. Literally. I know it's dangerous, but I feel normal here. And it's true. Like you can, Brother Tad spoke about the body keeps score earlier. And Viktor Frankl speaks, not Viktor Frankl, I'm sorry, wrong person. Vesta van der Kolk speaks about this, like the example you gave Brother Ted earlier about the war vets. And when you really speak up, he'll speak about how they get motorcycles and look at the young boys in Baltimore on the dirt bikes, right? I'm not gonna let y'all take that culture. That's a Baltimore thing. Look, everybody do well, like the dirt bike thing, right? Why are they doing that? They doing some crazy stuff. I mean, because they need that stimulation, because when you've been through so much trauma, you don't feel alive. So there's something in your body that desires. It desires a certain level of stimulation, and people go back to the block just for that stimulation. I had my brother, I ain't gonna say his name. I say his name. He let me put out there for my brother Montu. We started doing real estate.
Montu.
Huh?
Shout out to brother Montu. I was gonna ask you how you doing too.
Say it again.
I was gonna ask you about him. How's he doing?
Yeah, he doing good. We do book clubs and everything here. So we used to do real estate, right? Well, we both do real estate. He still do it more than I do it right now because I have these other projects. But one of the things he said, one day we out after midnight, we put bandit signs. We buy houses, those signs. We buy houses. Like, I don't know how they put them up there, but they put them up sometimes everywhere down here on the poles. They're illegal. So me and Mark,
it's illegal to put signs up?
They're illegal in most everywhere. They're illegal. Maybe very few.
Talking about where you stamping it on the poles and all
on
that?
A pole or on the pole, you put the little tie strap. They're not illegal. You'll get fined for putting them out. So one day I'm looking at Mark. Look, me and Mark took out the truck, and we in some rough little areas. It's like after midnight, 3 a.m., 2 a.m. He's like, oh, this feels so good. It feels invigorating. Oh, like I'm doing something criminal. Like literally, like I'm saying. So it's something that's euphoric about these things. So here I make a joke every now and again, but it's something about that thrill that we're so used to when we've been through certain things that we have to now account for. Because in fact, that's why we switch from, just like a person who goes from, let's say, heroin, then you start seeing them drinking a bunch of Kool-Aid and things with sugar and all that, and it naturally happens. You don't even know why you're doing it. It's just your body start craving certain things. So similarly, your body continues to crave that thrill that you had and you've got conditioned to. Say it again.
That adrenaline rush.
And it's a drug. And then we don't understand that people are addicted to that more than what they ever receive from it.
Oh no, I was definitely addicted to it.
Yeah.
I could definitely speak on that.
Yeah, addicted to it. Even if even though I ain't make no money.
I can even say now, it's like, yo, I used to love it.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Like literally, like my nigga, I'm coming out the crib to do. I'm thirsty to book something. I'm thirsty to gangbang on something. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the addiction, like, because it's adrenaline rush when you come out and you bring in a certain energy.
Yeah. And that's for the people though.
About that
for the empathy piece. That's like maybe we struggle, but we are, when we're dealing with this thing, knowing that people are addicted to it, like they don't even feel like they can live life without it, although they know that life might be taken.
And like I said, I don't think I just don't feel nothing for the person, but I just understand like that's a part of that
lifestyle you sign up.
It's basically a death style.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I get it.
Like the brothers on the West Coast, say, and I heard them saying, it's because, bro, it's what's coming out of
it ain't never lie. I get what you're saying. Like when I was younger, right? And my neighborhood is OYC, Old York and Cater, right? And I used to another neighborhood called McCabe. Y'all can look it up, right, and see how vicious the beef was between these two neighborhoods. And it's like it's all fun until it's not fun. And I used to ask myself, man, why are we acting like that wasn't going to happen? Like I'm literally like the most, like we act like that wasn't going to happen. And then now we out there, we crying, the whole neighborhood out in the street, like everybody crying. It's like you didn't think that was going to happen.
But at the same time, we loved it. That's what I'm saying. We love being in the mix of that.
Yeah.
So
but
understand.
I find that
I
find that to still be though the setup though. I don't feel like that. I feel like that is a result of us being in an oppressive society.
No,
and some of us can navigate those better than others. Like for example, you can navigate that better than others. Like I got a homeboy, right? He came home from prison. He was locked up since he was 16. He came home, he built up, like he been locked up since he was 16. I just recently met with him not too long ago. He has a trucking company now. He has a book out talking about how to get started with trucking. He's doing some real estate things, and he told me how he struggles to see how when he came home, that brothers out on these streets, he said he had no empathy for them. That how when he came home after being locked up since he was 16 or earlier, that they haven't done anything with their lives. So he and I had to like really converse a bit and realize that to some degree, he was preserved in a sense, although it was hard and then he has to get over that trauma, but that damn trauma did not stop when you went in. And he even has to he even has to like, in his mind, he told me he had to like even cut off certain parts of the stuff that he was hearing that was going on out here in the streets, like friends killing each other and all that. Just imagine you're in there cutting that off, but we out here and we living and experiencing that.
Yeah. And I think that's where probably where my lack of empathy, because that's what I had. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was incarcerated straight for 16 years. So you know, a lot of the stuff from the hood, I wanted to just black out because I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with in there.
Yeah,
I don't have times to be having trauma coming from both places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dealing with everyday trauma in prison. So I don't want to hear the trauma from outside.
Right.
Outside of my direct family. You know what I'm saying? Like the street family, I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? I called and spoke, you know, but it wasn't as I had to block a lot of it out in order for me to get my mental clarity.
Right. Yeah. So, Brother Ted, you was about to say something?
No, I was about to say, I think we all went through it. We coming down to almost 15 minutes left in the show. And speaking of trauma, has anybody been checking up on the shooting of Donald Trump? Because I definitely wanted to touch on that before we boogie out of here. Have anybody heard specifics of the reports, or y'all want to wait till it finished developing and we revisit it?
They know who they named the shooter.
Yeah, and I think they popped it too.
Yeah, the FBI. Yeah, the FBI. They murked him.
Yeah, some folks say it's staged. Some folks say it may lead to a civil war. What's funny is I just watched the movie the other night called Civil War, and it's all about these photographers just trying to interview the president before the ops, which is WF, Western Forces, get him. They had a plot to assassinate the United States president, but these were states that seceded, and they never told you what it was about, what started it. Also, what's the movie that one of the Obama daughters did that was predicated on the Civil War also? Came out last year. And it's like, are they preparing the country? Because you know they always put these movies out here, these little psyops, before they go in that direction. I just want to put people on high alert to be careful, because this is the conversation, whether it's real or staged. You know, the supporters are talking about a civil war. And also what's the dude name? Behold the Pale Horse. William Cooper also wrote about that. So it's interesting to see the climate that we're in and how this all unfolds. So I might have but I know it's early, because what this happened the day before yesterday, or was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah. What you gonna say?
Sad to say for the racist white boys outside of like super rural areas, they ain't gonna get what they looking for. They know they gonna get it. They ain't gonna get what they looking for, but they gonna get what they looking for. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna mess
They ain't
around
gonna get
and
what
find
they
out.
want, but they gonna get what they looking for.
Yeah,
Because
it's dangerous. But
little news is out, and this is the thing, is this is what people don't realize, and we seeing like these little dudes are more in tune than we would like to think.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? They more in tune that a lot of the older people like that. Because bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like this narrative that the older people are saying that the young dudes are worse.
Yeah.
Right,
My
folks.
nigga, our era. Where you think you get crack babies from?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Where you think you get crack babies from? Where was them? Where was this, especially in New York City? Where was the most homicides at?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The most robberies, the most violence.
Yeah.
It comes from my era. It comes from the era when I was teenage, my formative years. So this narrative that we trying to give the young dudes, like where we trying to make them as the bad guys and not, you know what I'm saying, and not looking, reflecting on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because you got way more young men graduate, you know what I'm saying, than we ever had, my nigga.
Right.
Than we ever had. I'm talking about from my era in particular.
Yeah.
Dudes that were going to school in the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
You was in high school in that, bro. My nigga, I know niggas that dropped out in 7th grade, 8th grade to get money. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, they trying to get money. You know what I mean? Dudes is, and bro, I was in school, and let's not get it twisted, bro. I was when I applied myself, I was an exceptional student. When I applied myself, but I stopped applying myself around the 9th grade because I wanted to do
what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and I was raised by parents that were pro education, super hard on the education. You know, it has nothing to do with our upbringing. But bro, all these OGs have to be 100% honest with themselves, my nigga. Yeah. All of us of my age, bro, these young brothers is not doing nowhere near as worse than us. The only thing I have a problem with is when dudes speak of the dead. That's the only problem I have with these young dudes in the streets and in hip hop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because they not doing as bad as we was doing, my nigga. Yeah. I'm gonna just be honest with you. We was wild.
Yeah.
This is my favorite subject right here. I'm trying to contain myself.
Nah, go ahead, jump in there, Doc.
No, literally, I be saying, hold up, man. Y'all be hearing dudes on the corner like, look at these little niggas. You know what I'm saying? We used to get our ass whipped when we was young, and unless they ain't got no home sense, they ain't got this. But bro, you still out there, even you saying this. Like you even still out there and you saying these things. One, and two, look now, brother Gutter, you said you grew up in an early age. When did you grow up?
Well, I was a teenager in the early, you can say early, because of 83 I was 14. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I struggle even like so we a little bit different in generation, right? But I know the people from your generation. In fact, the people from your generation, I remember when I was younger, they were snorting heroin. That's what I told somebody the other day in Baltimore. They were snorting heroin and sell.
I know dudes that was sniffing dope, because we call it, you know, in New York, dudes were sniffing dope when I was in high school. They was in junior high school. They was in high school, my nigga.
Right.
So dudes can't be talking about like the young dudes all off. Like me personally, I don't like the pills and that's weird to me. But
yes,
bro, And when I was coming up, dudes was smoking woos and sniffing dope, my nigga.
Abs-
Dudes was full-fledged crackheads at 15 and 16, my nigga.
And then
So
the
nobody
other piece.
can't tell me about that era.
Absolutely. And me, 80s and 90s, like I told you, crack was king in at least my neighborhood. And when I am saying everybody was selling crack at 12 and 15, and even I remember the young boy 8 year, we breeding him, and he out. Look, so what I'm saying is, in the killing, at least here, the killing, like I don't feel unsafe. I'm talking about even Baltimore. Although we still got the record levels of murder stuff going on, it does not feel the same. I'm telling you, when I was younger, I could not. If you walked out of your neighborhood to another neighborhood, you almost was bound to get your
You're not safe.
You're not safe. I'm telling you, it was a neighborhood thing, and you were unsafe. You had to travel in packs. My mother sent me to the worst school in Baltimore because my neighborhood, OYC, was the neighborhood up there. So it's like, even if you go to different schools, the neighborhoods was running the school. And then look, they were shooting. Huh?
I can tell you how bad it was. In the 80s. 3 blocks away from where we hung out, you got beef. And it ain't necessarily because they don't like your block. You're not from down there. 3 blocks. Niggas went to school with dudes and all that. I'm different because I came back to New York from Mississippi. So I'm kind of different. But it didn't matter because I'm from down there. We don't know you. We on you. Dudes on your body immediately. You know what I mean? And they trying to run your pockets, all that.
I got another one real quick though, bro. And this is what I'm saying. When I was young, I'm gonna tell you how bad it was, but still how bad it is. I'm talking about not this generation. I'm talking about my generation up to your generation. I don't trust people. When I was younger, I kind of had respect for my fathers, and I felt my father's friends and felt they were safe. Literally across the street from where I am right now. Look, in Baltimore right now, the same ones from the 80s and 90s, they still look old heads, what they was calling when I was young, when you was 30 and 40 and you was on the block, you was an old head. Now it's not even an old head thing no more. It's a normal thing. You still see those same old heads tracking in traveling in packs, even shooting younger people now. I'm saying, like, if you turn on the news, you never used to hear about an old 40-year-old man shooting a 25-year-old. You literally hear 40-year-old men shooting 25-year-olds because you can't tell nobody in the 80s and 90s and even that anybody past that generation is tougher than them. None of us think our children are tougher than us.
Right.
Y'all chumps. That's how we think.
Yeah.
From an older cat. I just lost a little homie from his block. From the block he grew up on to an older cat.
Yes.
Over I think a parking space or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Cause you can't tell people in the 80s and 90s that they ain't the toughest. I'm talking about still to this day, we think we invincible. I'm talking about even if you wasn't out there. That's why I'm telling. Look, just because you grew up and you was amongst all that stuff, you can't tell them that. Look, even if they don't say their children chumps, they feel like they're you a chump. Let me toughen you up a little bit. They're like Ted trying to do his his son-in-law.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you gotta toughen up a little bit, bro. Come on.
It's like we gotta see, and this is where the disconnect come in. Because dudes feel that they can't talk to the young dudes because what we're seeing is an oversaturation of shit in the media that's showing that these young kids is going crazy when that's not we wasn't on camera.
Right.
Bro, I can literally say the dudes in my era bankrupt stores in New York from going in there and snap and not boosting. I'm talking about running in there deep, snatching a bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? So nobody, we like, because it weren't no cameras to show the evidence of what gimbals, we bankrupt. Niggas from the hood bankrupt gimbals. You know what I'm saying? Hermans, niggas from the hood bankrupt Hermans. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say bankrupt them, but we made them close their stores in New York. They no longer was willing to take the losses that they was taking, fucking with us.
It's crazy. Yeah, I get it. I agree.
You think what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I remember
when
nobody was safe.
Yeah, when people got this history and start talking about how bad the young dudes is as opposed to us, it's like, come on, my nigga.
I just said this on a podcast the other day, actually.
People getting like, we come from the era where people was going to people's doors and shooting at their eye hole, my nigga.
Yeah.
This is real. Like I literally know a few people that happened with. You understand what I'm saying? So like, whoever answers the door is getting shot in the face.
But you know what one of my mentors say? She says, and this is an older lady, she's passed on now. She's one of my most she said we be talking about the good old days, and the good olds never existed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pastime paradise is Stephen.
It's because the us don't look at it through a lens of reality. We look at through a lens of nostalgia.
Absolutely.
It was better because it felt better back then. But
it felt good.
Yeah, in reality, we were way worse than the young dudes are. So why can't you talk to them and have a discussion with them and tell them, yo, bro, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. The older dudes that have reputations don't want to engage with them. So that's where it's the disconnect. That's where it can be no growth.
Yep. And that's why we have the OG Wisdom podcast. So we could take this platform, have these conversations, but not just on a basic street level, but bring it to a higher level of consciousness with professional doctors like our brother, Dr. Winkler, who joined us today. And we're going to have other professionals also come on, as well as me and Brother Gutter's perspective of being dudes who was out there, who found enjoyment and thrill seeking and crowns.
Hold up, Ted. That was good, bro. I ain't never heard, but don't confuse me with 19 Keys family. Peace.
I didn't say
higher levels of consciousness.
You got jokes too. You got jokes too. And your timing is impeccable.
Let's say it again.
Your timing is impeccable.
Oh yeah, I told you I got those type of jokes.
Yeah, family, but we coming down to the last 3 minutes. Doc, anything you want to leave the people with before you bounce up out of here?
Man, I like to thank you all for providing space. You know, that's the term everybody uses now. Space, safe space, and all that. Like, you know, a space for me here with Brother Tad and Brother C. Gutter. Blessings getting to meet you. I saw when you all first put this together, and I like the whole vibe, and y'all had I remember y'all, it was a few years ago when I saw y'all about to bring this about, right? And so I appreciate being a guest on here. I thought you was calling me up to talk about this whole debate thing. I like debating, there ain't no thing, you know, I could be wrong, we're gonna still go at it, right? So that don't even matter, right? It's shop talk, you know what I'm saying? So corner talk, all that. But nonetheless, what I do want to say is, family, we really got to deal with this trust issue. And at the core, we really got to deal with trust, because that is a core aspect of trauma. And if we don't deal with this struggle to trust others, but really trust ourselves, we know that there's grown men out here, if you know it or not, we want to look like we understand. We want to feel like grown men. We want to feel like we are daddies, but at the same time, we feel like we are frauds. But the thing is, a lot of that comes from, well, I ain't had my dad, or I did have my dad, or if I did have my dad, he didn't teach me nothing. So what I'm saying is some of that could be true, but the reality is that does not determine who you are. And I know people who never had their dad in their life, and guess what? They really good. But at the same time, I call them super dads. Some of these brothers, they be out here going to every football game and basketball game and doing all of this and doing all of that, but still feel like frauds. Like me, I be missing track meets and all types of things and all that because I don't have that thing competing in my mind. But understand, brothers and even sisters, learn to trust yourself. Learn to know that you are enough. Learn to trust yourselves, and you can begin to learn to trust yourselves with others. Because we don't trust ourselves, we don't begin to trust ourselves with others, because many times we don't do things or properly connect with people because we are afraid of how we might react to other people's stimuli. And when you can control yourself, as the brother Tad and brother Gutter said, you know, when you learn how to control your emotions, you can be in better relationship with, you can be in good relationships with anybody. But when you are afraid that you ain't gonna have control of yourself, you aren't able to be in a good relationship, because you will be constricted in how you deal with those people. Learn to trust yourselves so you can trust others and have good relationships. Peace.
Doc, we definitely gonna have to have you back. Gotta final words.
No, this is a dope bill. I want to know how I can get the OG Wisdom and C Gutter OG at C. I want all that on my setup too. I feel left out.
Oh, okay, okay.
I just feel left out. You know.
I got you, Gutter. It's right under your name.
That's all.
Hook that up.
Just hook me up.
Hit him up.
That's right. Real Mafia Gutter on IG. Right. Put that up under his name.
No, it's C Gutter. It's C Gutter _ where you at.
Okay, C Gutter. Oh, so you got 2 pages, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The main one. The main one is C Gutter _ where you at. Just hook me up for the next time. That's all. You know, the next time we hook up, just give me my issue. That's all. I'm on my issue.
No doubt. Doc, we definitely want to have you back in the near future. We definitely appreciate you. Give all the Baltimore family my love, man. Dr. Mayat, our brother Imhotep Fatu, our brother Sankofa Nix. That's my dude right there.
I just want to ask one more question, Doc. Do you say Tuesday too? That's Tuesday.
Tuesday. I can say it various ways, because I'm a little different. So I can say Tuesday. I can say Tuesday. I can say Tuesday. I can say Tuesday. I don't say Tuesday like y'all say. People say y'all say Tuesday. Nah, that's a made up one. That's an exaggeration. But I can't say Tuesday.
Bro, my man from East Baltimore, man. He say Tuesday.
Tuesday. Well, he might be from East Baltimore. I'm from Northeast Baltimore.
Oh man. What family, we definitely glad that y'all were able to join us this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. We want y'all to like, subscribe, and share the OG Wisdom Podcast. Follow our brother, Dr. Dennis Assar Winkler. He's on all platforms. Doc, what's the name of your show?
Which one? Well, I'm on a sister Doc in the Box on Black Box Radio, on my own platform on YouTube at what do they call it, those things, at Dr. Dennis Assar Winkler on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
All right, family.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we thank y'all all. We'd like to thank the usual suspects, our sister Anusa, sister K Fighter, our brother Magnetic Tyson, always sister Amanatu. We definitely want to thank sister Shalise Outlaw, my sister Farnessa, always on the check-in, holding us down, and everybody else who didn't speak. Oh, can't forget our brother Knowledge Born Allah, the hardest working dude in this podcast, YouTube.
Peace.
You know what I'm saying? We definitely got to have him up on here in the near future too. So family, we want to thank y'all for coming through, rocking out with us. And so that's it, right, family? That's it from my brothers.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Thank you. Blessings.
Nothing else I got to say. All right. So again, like, subscribe, and share. And we are out of here, y'all. Peace.
Yeah, tap in with us, man.